Hi, I'm Sidney, and for my Africana Oral Studies class, I'll be interviewing different people around my campus about a social injustice, and I decided to focus on the topic of sexism.
Maybe one thing is that we're not strong, I guess.
People think that we might not be as serious about stereotypically masculine stuff, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know for me, whenever I go to the gym, people always assume that I'm just there with my boyfriend, when in reality, I was a varsity basketball player in high school, so I always like to play, but I always get looked over. Do I have to answer?
I think that maybe someone would assume that as a girl, maybe you're not as academically inclined, or maybe you don't play sports as well as them or don't work out as much as boys. Maybe also people would assume that based off your gender, what you like to do. Like if you're a female, maybe you like to go shopping and get your hair done and nails done. And if like that would be something that someone would assume of me or other girls.
In my work, people will lots of times assume that I'm the secretary or assistant instead of the partner or owner of the business. There's times when people call in and they hear the female name and they would just pick it and start talking to me as if I'm not the owner of the company or the partner, or like I'm the assistant to my male partner.
Probably weekly?
I think so, not too often, but it still happens.
I typically surround myself with a lot of females, so I can't say for the most part that I experience it on a daily basis at all, or I'm not super aware of it maybe. Yeah. I mean, every time I go to the gym I experience it, so 3 or 4 times a week.
I experience sexism probably daily because when I go to the gym, which I go almost every day, there's a lot of guys at the gym always, and they have a tendency to be the biggest population, so there's way more guys than girls. And when you work out next to them, or if you're working out on a machine that a lot of guys are working out on, then you think they're judging you, and they're not thinking that you can lift as much or that you're going to do the exercise well because you are a girl, and that's just a common feeling that a lot of girls get at the gym.
As far as feeling sexism, usually it's, I would say, just every few months, couple months, and usually it's through work. Again, it's a client or something assuming I'm not the partner, not the CPA. Maybe they don't think I could be as educated as them. The other times, although it doesn't happen a lot, but definitely things like when you take your car in to get worked on or something like that, it seems like they seem like you don't know anything about the vehicle. Luckily, I don't have to take my car in a lot, but that does happen now and then.
Machismo, I think. To sum it up in one word. Yeah, and then I guess it kind of just continued with that idea, and then it just continued. I think mainly people become sexist through observing their parents or family members or guardians when they're growing up. I think that if a child observes their parent, their father or mother being sexist, then they're more likely to think that that's right and that that's normal and that's what they should do. And especially in other places like daycares and stuff, because they're around a bunch of people and they're like, okay, this is what people do, so they're more likely to assume that.
I think a lot of it is either their parents teaching them sexism, and I also think a huge part is the media, the way they portray women. The media treats all women as sex objects, or they talk about what they're wearing, and if a woman's smart, then lots of times they say negative things about her. So I think media actually is probably one of the biggest influencers on kids growing up and the way that they see women.
Don't I think they could have internalized misogyny, but I don't know if they can be sexist because they're not the one that are, how do you say it? Perpetrating this whole thing. Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. I don't know if it's as prevalent, but I think it's definitely out there.
I mean, there's definite gender bias. One of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's cases, she had a single dad who wasn't getting his his wife had died and he should have gotten her benefits, but he wasn't getting them. The state or whoever had said that he can't get them, but if the roles were reversed, she would have gotten his benefits.
Yes, I think everyone can be sexist. I think that it's not just men towards women. Women can be sexist towards women if they are a different type of woman, like maybe they're more athletic. They can think, oh, that girl doesn't look like she's athletic, and maybe she's not going to be as good as me. Or if they're an athlete, maybe they're okay, I'm way better at this sport just because I'm this type of athlete.
Yeah, I would say that women could be sexist to other men. I think they can make judgments about men, that all men are pigs or things like that, when that's not the case. Not all men are that way. And I definitely think women can be judgmental of other women. I think a lot. If a woman is attractive, then sometimes I think people think, well, then she can't be smart. Or then she must, I need to be afraid of her. She's probably after my husband or my spouse, or my boyfriend. So I do think that women can be sexist with other women and men.
I guess education for everyone about what our words mean and how our institutions have been, targeting or against women.
Equal pay. I mean, it just kind of has to be every individual's decision to not do that. We can only decide for ourselves. So
Yeah, and I think raising
raising
parenting has a huge impact, and I think raising children to be equal and aware of potential gender bias and sexism.
Yeah.
Well, I think that sexism is really just built into our values as a country. For the longest time, we were raised to believe that men are superior to women, and in the olden days that's how it was. And I think that the only way to really break free of that is to just completely start over and implement into newer generations that women and men are equal, and then I think from there sexism will eventually diminish, if we don't, it'll just keep being what our country and what we as a population is built on, so it'll continue to grow.
I think one of the biggest solutions to me in sexism obviously is education and also the media. We need to stop photoshopping women's pictures, focusing so much on how they look, and having women more involved in things, getting hired and promoted. I heard somewhere about in men's basketball, all the staff is predominantly men, coaches and all that. And even in women's basketball, the women's coaches are really a small percentage. And it's why aren't more women getting, roles, especially when they are, coaching other females? Why aren't we seeing more women in those positions? So I think we just need to get out and really show women as leaders, and hopefully, women will get promoted and stop and stand up for their rights.
I hope that everybody who watched this video enjoyed the interviews and hopefully learned something. I know that I definitely learned something from conducting these interviews. I think it's always good to ask questions about issues that are in society so that we can always be learning and hearing other people's sides, because there's always a bunch of sides to every issue. One of the questions that I thought was really interesting was the one about what people would assume about you just because of your gender, and the answers that I got kind of surprised me just because I didn't really think about them. I didn't know that these people were experiencing that, and so I thought that was interesting to hear.